All right, y'all. Today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to see for its local search and for its city search if it's got BSS, yes or no. So we're back here in the GBC universe, where we take declining boudoir photographers, turn them into the #1 boudoir photographers in their city. Our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that in whatever pinned post, pinned video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if we're falling, we're missing somewhere in this, intent ladder. We're not capturing the amount of people we need to at each intent step or intent level. So we see over on the left, BSS. That's what we talk about here. That's the highest intent people doing, social search, Google search, and then over on the right, the lowest intent people. That's BLCS. That's our other brand, Boudoir Facebook Ad Doctor. That's where we're working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand per month on their boudoir Facebook ads. But BSS, that's what we care about today. So care about the highest intent people right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1, and we're invisible. We're basically dead. And that's because that means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past the first page, just literally page 1 only. So those 20%ers, we don't care about them. We want to deal with the 80%. 80%ers, the bulk of people. Now, 1 slot on page 1 also is not good for us because we look like everyone else on page 1. If there's not other boudoir photographers and everyone's got 1 link, then the searcher, the buyer, is simply going to click, literally click and opens everyone's website, contact everyone. We don't stand out at all. Probably won't even remember our name. So boudoir search sameness, boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Extremely common, but it's not normal. Is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. First deeper root cause is market saturation, which most know about. The second one is the false belief of page 1 equality, which most people do not know about. Now, the market saturation, that's where it seems like every week someone gets a new iPhone, they throw up their Google My Business profile, and they say they shoot boudoir, they got their website up, they're competing with us to rank on page 1. Basically, more boudoir photographers over time competing for the same number of buyers, so it makes it harder, more difficult for everyone to compete. So that's consistently pushing people out of page 1 onto page 2, and effectively invisible to 80% of searchers that never even go to page 2. Now the new one here, we got the false belief of page 1 equality. This is new because people have kind of auto-accepted it because there's never really a word to describe this. For people to say, oh, I agree with that or disagree with that or I think it's true or false or whatever. But the false belief of page 1 is equality is basically assuming, getting 0 or 1 slot on page 1 of Google is the default. It's the norm. Everyone either has 0 slots or 1 slot, and maybe you had 1 slot on Google page 1, but market saturation puts us off to page 2. So all right, we got 0 slots on page 1, we got 1 slot on page 2, and all right, that's how it is. It's how being a boudoir photographer is. But no, actually, we can actually take as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the work for. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in 10 days. So this kind of page 1 equality assumption or like default belief, default assumption is 100% incorrect, which we'll see in a few more pictures down here. We also know that a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, it's kind of like the canary in the coal mine. I mean, if you got 0 slots on page 1, you're definitely disappearing. 1 slot on page 1 probably also disappearing as well because there may be some other people that got 2 slots on page 1, and we're not at 1 slot. We're not staying out at all. We're basically invisible. We're being price shopped against everyone. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine where once someone becomes a disappearing boudoir photographer and they don't fight against it, then pretty soon, eventually, the entire business disappears as well. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine of what can happen next future in the business. So BSS, luckily we got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S cubed methodology. We invented this, been working on it for about 7 months now. we're liking the results so far. So we're bringing it to market. And to utilize S-Cube's methodology, remember it's social search saturation. So we saturate search on Facebook search, Instagram search, TikTok search, YouTube search with what our people searching for boudoir photo shoots will be typing in. So we show up there. And once we do that, that actually flows over to Google. So saturating social search actually flows over to Google kind of as a byproduct, giving us multiple links on page one. And again, I went from 0 out of 10 links on page one to 9 out of 10 links on page one for what I wanted to rank for in 10 days. And so the magic about this is the only way someone can use this is if they crash, if they destroy that false belief of page one equality. Because once we use S-Cube methodology, and once you actually see these results I got, we'll realize, oh, that belief was actually false. Page one equality is not the norm. Google actually will give us as many links as we want to put in the effort to acquire, as many page one links. And so the second magical thing about S-Cube's methodologies is it's the only thing I've seen that actually fights back against market saturation. So imagine if there's, we're a boudoir photographer in LA, and there's a total of 1 million boudoir photographers in LA. Everyone's got their own website. So everyone's, fiercely competing to be page one on Google. But imagine we take the S-Cubed methodology to the extreme where we rank so hard for the highest intent keywords for people searching for boudoir photo shoots. And, we absolutely crush social search saturation, where literally like the first 300 slots of any and every search related to boudoir is us. So it's around all the social platforms that flows over to Google. And let's say the first 300 organic results on Google are only us as well, because we took S-Cubed methodology to the max. So the fact that there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers actually doesn't matter to us, because for the first 300 slots, anywhere somebody looks for a boudoir photo shoot in LA, we're the only ones there. They got to go down a slot like 301, and Google is 10 organic slots per page. So I got to go to page like 31 to find another boudoir photographer. So whose business is still doing great? Ours, even though there's literally 999,999 other boudoir photographer competitors. So this is one of the special things about S-Cubed methodology. It's the only thing I've seen that actually, builds momentum and helps us compete against market saturation. That can happen relatively quickly. The only other second thing would be brand. People doing branded searching for our brand specifically, but that takes years. So this is something that happens way faster than years to build a brand. And now once treated with S-Cubed methodology, we now have page one visibility. So we're actually seen on page one, even though, we may have had one slot on page one, we're still kind of invisible. But with page one visibility, we got 2. Well, we go for the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here for local search and city search. But the added bonus is every new slot we take up on page one, we are kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible, because approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They stay on page 1. And as a result, kind of as we take 4 out of 10 slots, 5 out of 10 slots, 6 out of 10 slots, people searching for at least the 80%, the big chunk we're going for, they can only price shop us or compare us against 2, 3, 4 boudoir photographers instead of against 9, because they ain't going to page 2 anyways. And so this is one of the other bonuses. It's actually kicks our competitors out of basically being found. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, because we're no longer at a 0 or 1. We're no longer at 0, 1 slots on page 1, and boudoir search for So we're actually standing out. Well, 0, 1, and we won't get to 3 because there may actually be someone else that has 2. I mean, 1's most common, 2 is kind of rare. But if we got 3 out of 10, we're ultra rare. And we're definitely standing out against people that have 1 slot each, and still standing out against people that got 2 slots. It's probably only one other person. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. And this is our university disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Once we accept page one equality is false, now we know, okay, now we can tackle it, we can solve it. The only thing I know that can solve it is S cubed methodology. It actually solves, the only thing I know that can solve both false belief of page one equality and market saturation. We achieve page one visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, so these are my results actually doing, so ranking for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So that's what I want to rank for. So we got the AI overview, got the Google Map Pack. Now looking at organic. So I got organic slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. So I got 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google. And this was after I went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. And kicked everyone else off page 1. I took it over. And this is showing the power of the S-cubed methodology, where Google wants to give these page 1 slots to the people that want the page 1 slots the most, and to be relevant to the user search. So these slots are always up for grabs for everyone that wants them. So now, all right, main event here. Let's see this boudoir photography business, see if they got their local search or their city search, see if they got BSS for either of those. So we're going to East Hampton, Mass. All right. Going up here, East Hampton. All right, so let's see what we got here. Dun, dun, dun. All right, we got 1. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. And all right, so we got, all right, good. Local, we got 3. Got a recommended, we do not have BSS. We hit the 3 out of 10 recommended minimum. All right, now we're going to Springfield, Mass. Let's see what we're cooking up here. So, all right, 0 out of 10 for our city search. So we got BSS for this one. So let's see. All right, so local search, we ain't got BSS, and we did reach the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page 1, Google search. City search, we got 0 out of 10 slots, city search. So yes, we got BSS, and we are not meeting the recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page 1, Google search for the city search. All right, so here it is, Pyramid Boudoir photographer. And you've done your local searches, you've done your city searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and you've had 0 or 1 slots. So you've had BSS for at least one of those, and or you have not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google for any one of those, and you've accepted the false belief of page 1 equality. So you actually know Google wants to give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to take, and your CN S-cube methodology is the only way forward, the only path forward to acquire all those slots. It's actually, you've been waiting for something like this, and you're liking the initial benefits of S-cube methodology, more slots, page 1 on Google. You really like that page 1 on Google. You actually really like, can kick your competitors off page 1 on Google, effectively making them invisible or making them disappear and making their business go down the path of disappearing. So you really like that. And you actually want, actually looking ahead because you understand market saturation and you're realizing that AI is going to be taking more and more people's jobs. So not only do you need these slots on Google, you actually need to overslot on Google. You need to fortify your position for all of the new boudoir photographers that are going to be entering the marketplace. And as a result, the only solution you can see that'll help you fortify your position on page 1, literally get like so many links to page 1 that Google can't even rank all your links on page 1, and they push you back to taking over page 2 and 3 and 4 because you got so many page 1 backup links. The only solution you see that can provide that benefit is S-cube methodology, basically fortifying the levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because that that city's below sea level, so fortifying it against the ocean. You're fortifying this against current boudoir, current boudoir photographers getting anywhere on page one, and also any future boudoir photographers or AI is taking their jobs, force them to become boudoir photographer, ever ranking page one as well. And you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility because you know you need these things on your way to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. You also understand SQ methodology is basically building invisible thematic keyword columns on the, kind of out in cyberspace, basically in the AI mindshare in cyberspace, kind of have these columns connected to your brand, your business name, your social handles out there in cyberspace where AI really cares about, repetition, relevance, frequency, authority, age of all these invisible thematic keyword columns. And every day we successfully execute SQ methodology and grow those columns, increase those columns, we're increasing the probability we show up here AI overview, which means we're also increasing which is the most premium search placement there is. Cannot pay for this. And we're also increasing the probability the AI search recommends us. And we don't get any of these benefits paying for any ads. This is only through S-cubed methodology. And increased probability AI search recommends us. And that'd be things like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, kind of increase in probability we show up in these searches, which these searches increase every single day in usage. I remember last time I searched ChatGPT for boudoir photographers in a city, it gave me 3. And I actually went and did a manual Google and search and Facebook search. And dude, there's like 60. It's like, man, we got to find some way to get one of these 3 slots. And yeah, SQ methodology is the only solution you see out there that does increase that probability every day that we successfully execute it. And you're also like in that, it can help you create a large, well-known brand, approximately 8x faster than every other method. So market saturation becomes less and less a problem for you. And imagine if you continue using SQ methodology when you have a large, well-known brand, essentially be, unbeatable. And you also understand that my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. And so as a result, you're liking that you can get all these benefits, but also exclude your competitors from getting all these benefits. And you can actually build up, you can kick them off their first pages, Google, fortify page one against them to never actually increase, never actually get back onto page one, essentially. And you can also build up such a large kind of gap with the backend AI mindshare of those keywords, those invisible thematic keyword columns, that your competitors in the city really have no chance to ever catch up to you. So you decide to be a first mover and actually acquire all these things, all these benefits, and exclude your competitors from getting all these benefits. And you understand the converse, where if one of your competitors in your city was a first mover and signed out with me before you, they'd be getting all these benefits. You'd be kicked off page one on Google, maybe even page 2, relegated, way deep in the catalog. Definitely be disappearing. You would definitely be a disappearing boudoir photographer. We'd then be fortifying it page 1 against you ever climbing back on there. We'd be building the back end AI keyword mind share for your boudoir photography competitor in your city, building up their brand, building up a gap so large that basically no other competitor, including you, could ever reach them. And in order to compete with that, you would have to rederive SQ methodology all on your own. And once you rederive that all on your own, you'd never actually be 100% confident you derived it correctly. You would actually have to then go successfully execute every single day, same as us. And then when you do that, the most that you would get is you would maintain the gap me and your competitor have already built in front of you because you'd be equaling our output each day. So you'd have to actually 2 to 3x our effort every single day, but it would be hard to commit that much time because, again, you're not even 100% confident you've derived the strategy correctly in the first place. And, to do all this, who's got 80 hours in a day? So you're deciding, screw that. You decide you're going to be the first mover in your city. And as a result, that's you. Shoot us a DM. Our DMs are currently closed because the hospital is currently closed for new patient intake. But when the hospital does reopen for new patient intake, shoot us a DM. and we will see if you qualify to utilize our S cubed methodology.